Welcome back, YouTube. Concussion is here again, and if you clicked on the video, then I'm pretty sure you know what this is going to be about. This is a scenario I wanted to cover because I thought it was very interesting. So the purpose of the scenario is, I'm sure if you click on the thumbnail and you see the video title, you can kind of assume what it's about, and that is, can Alex Mercer survive in the infamous world? So for this video, I'm going to be talking over all the possibilities for this example and every infamous game setting in each version of Alex Mercer. So Alex Mercer from Prototype 1 and Alex Mercer from Prototype 2. I'm doing this because Alex from Prototype 1 is vastly different from Alex from Prototype 2. He changes so drastically in terms of character and what he would do in each scenario. So I am doing each scenario basically as what would happen if this Alex Mercer was in each scenario and each setting, basically. So yeah, the setup for this scenario is what would happen if Alex, for some reason, was suddenly thrust into the setting of each infamous game. So for example, for Infamous 1, he'll be in Empire City. For Infamous 2, he'll be in New Marais. For Infamous Second Son, he'll be in Seattle. To make this more interesting, because I don't want this to be a death battle, like Cole isn't going to be in the scenario, Delson isn't going to be in the scenario. I've already done a Alex versus Cole death battle, and I want to save Alex versus Delson for another day. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's get into this video, man. So let's Infamous 1, Alex Mercer from Prototype 1. What would happen if Alex was suddenly thrust into Empire City and he's just kind of there? There's a lot of variables in this particular scenario because of a guy called Kessler. I'm not sure if you guys know who Kessler is, but he is an older Cole. So if you guys watched my last video on this topic, I did a video about Alex versus Cole, and spoiler alert, Alex lost more times than he won. Now imagine him going up against an older and faster and stronger Cole, who's actually faster than Alex and has more abilities than that Cole actually does. The only reason Kessler lost against Cole is because he wanted Cole to get stronger then, so he could fight the Beast. That was literally the whole point Infamous 1 happened, just because Kessler wanted Alex to be stronger. Kessler wanted Cole to be stronger. But that being said, there's still a lot of variables in terms of threats, but the only major threat to him in this scenario is Kessler. He can beat Sasha and he can beat Alden just because of how versatile Alex is, and they really can't do anything to keep him down long enough to defeat him. They might be able to stun him, yeah, but he's just extremely powerful, and the fact that he's so powerful is not something to scoff at. Honestly, the only reason he would lose in this scenario is because of Kessler, and that's just because he's an older and more powerful Cole. So Alex's personality in Prototype 1 is, honestly, he wasn't really that bad of a guy. He wasn't a good person, but he wasn't a bad one either. Like, he'd honestly see what was happening and try to help the civilians. And honestly, once he consumed the Reapers and the Trashmen, he would kind of know exactly what was happening because of like how much knowledge he gains from doing that. And there's a good chance it will be fighting if Alex comes into the picture, because Kessler will see him as a huge threat to his plan, and he'll be like a wild card, and Kessler won't want that. The thing about the scenario is that if Kessler sees Alex as a threat, he will be super quick to hunt him down and just end it. If he sees him as a threat to his plan, he will just come in and completely like end him quickly. And if Alex somehow survives and get away, Kessler can track him. He can track him through his electromagnetic signature like Cole could. But Kessler could probably do it better because he's more powerful. But if Kessler dismisses Alex and is kind of like, oh, he's just some guy, like he'll be fine, like Cole will like be able to take him, or he won't affect Cole's growth at all, then Alex will continue to grow in power by consumption, and he'll honestly probably get some conduit-based powers by consuming conduits that he's fighting, because there was a lot of conduits in Empire City that Cole was fighting. He'll honestly keep growing and growing in power, especially if he fights Alden and Sasha and consumes them, because they're decently powerful. And for those of you saying that I don't think Alex can get conduit powers, here's what I have to say about that, and that's Alex can completely copy genes like perfectly, and the conduit gene is a gene. It is a gene, just like mutants are, and he can copy that. So I'm fairly sure that he'd be able to copy the conduit gene and be able to use them, and that's how he was able to get different abilities by consuming like hunters and things like that in Prototype 1. So I honestly don't see a reason why he can't copy it, and if I didn't think that he could copy it, honestly, I wouldn't have mentioned it, and I wouldn't really be saying it in this scenario. So if Alex gains conduit abilities from consuming conduits, and if Kessler doesn't see him as a threat to his plans for some reason, which I don't know why he wouldn't, Alex is insanely powerful, he would somewhat have more of a chance if he ended up fighting Kessler, because he would have more versatility and more powers. But even with that, I don't think he can take Kessler. So honestly, I don't really see him surviving Infamous 1. at least prototype 1 Alex, I don't see him surviving. I don't think he'll be able to beat Kessler just because of how powerful Kessler is, and he's an older Cole. So just on that alone, I don't think he can beat Kessler. All right, now Alex from prototype 2 is vastly different because as soon as Alex gets there, he's instantly going to infect the whole city. He's going to start infecting everybody. He's going to spread this infection. He's going to start creating lieutenants like he made in prototype 2, and there's just going to be lots of infected running around, lots of super powered infected. His lieutenants are going to be there, so it's just going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of infection. His lieutenants aren't as strong as him, but they're pretty decently strong. They're pretty comparable to him from prototype 1 in terms of like speed and jumping. They might not be as powerful, but they're definitely a lot stronger than like the average person. I think they're stronger than the condos that you fight in Infamous 1. He will also have this huge collected knowledge from the amount of people he's consuming, because I feel like he's just going to consume everybody that he can't like infect. So he'll honestly know how the city works and what's happening. There's also a lot of debate I've seen on whether or not conduits can get infected with the blacklight virus because they're immune to the plague. That's an Infamous, and there isn't enough evidence to say that they can or can't be infected because they do survive the plague, which the plague was infecting everybody and everyone's like dying. So honestly, that's a pretty strong virus. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they can't be infected for the scenario, that they're going to be immune to the blacklight virus because they're conduits. But I don't know. Now, one thing about this infection, the blacklight virus, is that it spreads incredibly fast. Like it spreads very, 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 very quickly. And those of you thinking, how is the infection going to go to island to island? Because Infamous 1 is sectioned off into 3 islands. And for those of you thinking that, I'm just going to say that, well, Alex can consume someone who knows how to lower the bridges. He's not a dumb guy, and he has a lot of knowledge. The knowledge that he has from consuming people, let's imagine eating somebody, grabbing all of their knowledge, and then eating another person, grabbing all of their knowledge, and do that like 8,000 times. You're going to learn a lot of things. That's how he's able to fly helicopters, pilot tanks, use guns that he's never used before. He learns from consuming, so I have no doubt that he can figure out a way to get the bridges down, or just consume the guy who knows how to lower all the bridges and just figure it out that way. I have no doubt that he'll be able to figure out how to infect the different parts of the city. I mean, he did it in Prototype 2. He did the different islands around New York in Prototype 2. They were infected, so I have no doubt that he'll be able to figure out a way to do it in Infamous 1, do it with those Empire City. And yeah, and honestly, just like Prototype 2, he's probably going to gain a lot of followers, just like he did in Prototype 2. There was a lot of people that were like, oh, he's going to save us, we're going to be the master race and all that. So honestly, I think there's going to be a lot of people that he's going to save from the plague and infect, and they're going to become like his lieutenants, and he's just going to have a lot of followers in general just because he's going to be around saving people. This will eventually lead to a fight with Kessler, who will be very preoccupied with a completely fully infected city to even notice Alex right away. But I think it will lead eventually to a fight between the two of them. And if it does, I think with a whole city of infected and lieutenants fighting with him, and just all the different infected types that are going to be in the city running around, and Alex having control over them, I think Kessler will get overwhelmed, and I don't see Kessler winning this scenario just because of how overwhelmed he'll be from the amount of opposition he's going up against. So for this particular scenario, I don't really see Kessler winning against Alex and his infected, so Alex will probably consume him and get stupidly powerful, and the city will just be screwed because Alex will have won. No one would have been able to stop him. So yeah, that's Infamous 1. Now on Infamous 2. This is Alex in Prototype 1. He's a Numerae, and he'll honestly probably start getting attacked by the militia there almost immediately because they're so anti-conduit and so pro like human. So they'll see him like running around, they'll probably start shooting him immediately, which, you know, probably piss Alex off, and he'll start going to war with them. So Bertrand will probably he's gonna see Alex as a demon, as like the devil basically, and basically that's gonna put Alex against Bertrand, which honestly in this situation Bertrand is gonna get his ass kicked because there's nothing he's gonna be able to do against Alex that will hurt him long enough for him not to get back up from, because he can hurt Bertrand too because he's so strong and so fast. So honestly, Bertrand's not really gonna be able to do anything because of his regen, strength, speed, his attack power. He's just gonna completely overpower him. And I don't think he's gonna have a problem with Nyx, because Nyx will be there, and well, he's not a bad guy, so I don't think he'll do anything that'll piss her off. But I mean, if that were to happen, I don't think she can take him either. I don't even think they would have a problem in this scenario. Now, the biggest threat to Alex in this scenario, and that's the main threat of Infamous 2, and that's the Beast. The Beast is coming to Numerae, and he'll no doubtly know about it because of all the newscasting and the survivors from Empire City. He'll probably consume them just by accident and like kind of know a little bit of what's happening, but he'll definitely know the beast is coming just based on all the news coverage that was on it. And now there's two things that could happen about him knowing that the beast is coming. He can either do two things, and that's he'll probably try to fight the beast, or since he knows it's coming, he'll run from it. If he tries to stay and fight the beast, he's screwed. There's just nothing that he can do to the beast. It's just so out of his league in terms of power, he'll just be screwed. Honestly, he'll die. If he stays to fight the beast, he will die. Another thing that could happen is he can run away, and basically he'll just be hiding and like in the US, and so he'll just go into hiding because it's basically like the same country, so he'll just be chilling out. That's really the end of that scenario with Prototype 1. He either fights the beast and dies, or he'll run and go into hiding and live in somewhere in the United States, basically, or anywhere in the world he can travel. Okay, so Prototype 2, Alex. Okay, oh boy. So Alex completely takes over New Marais, infecting everything and like everyone. He just completely bulldozes through everybody, and they're not going to be able to do anything to stop him, to be completely honest. Like, he's going to destroy them. He's not going to face a lot of opposition because of, one, how fast the infection spreads, and because of how powerful they are, but he's also going to create his lieutenants again, and no one's going to be able to do anything to stop this guy. No one is near powerful enough to do anything to stop him, and that's kind of crazy, but it's true. But unfortunately, Alex is probably going to decide to stay, even though he probably is going to know a little bit that the beast is coming. I don't think he'll know a lot about it, but I think he'll know enough to know that it's coming, and I think he'll be really cocky and think he can fight it. Which in that case he will die because he can't take the beast on just because of one simple, like a couple of feats. One, the beast tanked a nuke, which Alex couldn't do, and the beast completely destroyed Empire City in an instant, in like one attack, which is probably, I think that's stronger than a nuclear bomb, which Alex already can't tank. So the end of Infamous 2, Alex gets killed by the beast, and that's honestly the end of that. He completely destroys everybody, and then the beast comes and he gets killed, honestly. Or he'll run away and start infecting cities in the US and starting to build his empire like in the US around there, like trying to basically like not get in the way of the beast basically, but like infecting cities around the world. And yeah, that's really it for that scenario though. Okay, last Infamous game. So Infamous Second Son. Now Second Son is where it gets interesting because it doesn't have the beast or Kessler, but it does have the DUP, Fetch, Eugene, Hank's the original smoke guy, and Brooke Augustine, which Augustine was the main villain of Second Son. Now, how I see this scenario going with Alex from Prototype 1 is Alex kind of being thrust into the fight with the DUP because they'll either see him running around and shooting at him, or if he tries to go through one of their scanner things, I'm pretty sure we'll pick him up because in Prototype 1, even if he was fully disguised, there was scanners that could tell that he wasn't human. So I think the scanners will pick up on that, and then they'll start fighting, and they'll be like, oh, this guy he's not human, and they'll start fighting again. And once basically Alex goes into war with the DUP, they're gonna get decimated. Like, they're not gonna be able to do anything to this guy. He can take tank shots and get juggled around by tanks, get up and be fine. Like, they're shooting rocks at him. He will completely destroy them. They're not used to fighting a guy as powerful as he is. Honestly, he is immensely powerful and will be able to cut them to shreds. He probably won't even have any issues with Fetch or Eugene because Prototype 1 Alex is kind of a nice guy. So honestly, I don't think he's going to do anything to like hurt them or interfere with them. I think he's just going to go after DUP, and after he completely destroys the DUP, he's going to have to fight Augustine because of course he is, which I will get into in a second. So when Alex and Augustine get into it like they're going to, she is honestly going to get stomped because there's nothing that she can do to keep Alex down and out of the count for good. His strength, speed, his regeneration, his versatility will just completely overwhelm her until she like runs out of energy. And as soon as she runs out of energy, he can literally blitz her and cut her in half or do something that kills her instantly. There's nothing that she can do to really defend against his attacks. Like, she can put a shield up, yeah, but he could probably cut through that or punch through that because he can destroy tanks in one hit. So I'm not sure that whatever little concrete shield she can do, I'm pretty sure he can break through it. So honestly, she gets stomped, and yeah, he just completely outclasses her and a lot of the people in the series except for like a select few. So that'll be the kind of end of that scenario. He'll defeat the DUP and defeat Augustine, and then Seattle will be liberated. This scenario honestly ends on a pretty good note. So now to the last scenario. So Second Son with Alex from Prototype 2 is a different situation than the rest of these scenarios because there's no major threats to him, and there's no one or nothing really really able to stop him. So Seattle is basically screwed because he's going to completely run through it, infecting everybody, killing anybody who stands in his way, and the infection and his lieutenants, and he's going to basically do everything else that he did in Empire City or Numerai, except no one's going to be able to stop him. He's just going to overpower everybody. And if he can't overpower somebody that he's fighting, they're going to get overwhelmed by the amount of forces that he can bring in at a moment's notice, because the whole city will be infected pretty quickly too. He'll honestly consume or kill all the conduits shown in game. He'll honestly consume all the conduits occurred in K, and he'll just be stupid powerful by the end of the scenario. And honestly, no one will be able to do anything to stop him at all. So yeah, that's really the end of this scenario, is that he just completely destroys everybody. And yeah, no one can do anything against him. He'll be a new class of power after consuming all these conduits, and he'll just be ridiculously strong. The world will most likely be infected and end. With that being said, that's the end of this scenario and the end of this video. Thank you so much for liking and watching, and yeah.